known as Economic History of World Millennium Perspective. It is available in archives of OECD.org. And with that help, we can come to know that among all these countries performing in business and world economy, till first 15 centuries, from 0 to 1500, near about 66% of GDP was occupied by Indian economy. So we can establish one statement over here with the help of our own education. Bharatiya Shaikshanic Parampara, we can say, we were the global leaders in terms of economics and in terms of education. Then, as I said, in 1935, Lord Macaulay introduced education system for the so-called Indians to make them literate. And with the help of that, the education system started transforming. Within last 200 years, I have mentioned over here, we can have short glimpse over there, how it developed and how step by step the education system was divergence, it was well taken. So we can see over here that in 1835 there was Education Act, and after post-independence there were n number of exercises, commissions were appointed, and various efforts were taken to develop. But finally, we can say that whichever efforts were taken in the field of education, the various buildings were built on the foundation of whatever education systems were led by Britishers. So again, I don't want to criticize anyone over here. With the help of even that education system, today we are global leaders in terms of corporate sector. We can observe n number of Indians passing through IITs and IIMs. They are leading the various corporates, and yet we are the leaders in global phenomena. But still, if we want our student to make sustainable growth, overall overview of his life should we have to enlighten, and along with education, we have to nurture the child in the terms of education. So finally, as we were discussing, in last 60 to 70 years, whenever this education system was developing, we can see what was the situation in terms of educational institutions in our country. So in 2015-16, it has been marked that there were 329 public universities, 197 43 central universities. So geographically, we can mark such a huge country, and its educational needs were catered by this much of universities over there. So near about, if I'm not going wrong, more than 550 to 600 various mother institutes were there, and various colleges are working under them. So we can understand the how rigid and self-concentrated picture of education system would have been working over here. Again, in 2013, when UNESCO had a education for all survey, over there among 199 developing countries were marked, and in that list, India ranked 145th. So this was very challenging figure in 2013, which opened the eye of the rulers, or I would say government of India. And finally, it was said that they have to take very deep thought upon education system again, as the sustainable goals led by global leaders. One which is education. We were supposed to have some rigorous exercise in education, but the thought of government was taken that whenever now new education system or new education policy will be defined or it will be planned, it will be in a national perspective. So the name from new education policy, and from its name itself, it reflects that the element of nationality exists in this policy at a large scale. I would say, like Rishi Tulya, one of the great academician, K. Kasturi Ranganji, along with his team, submitted this document to Government of India on 29th of July 2020, and finally it was adopted. One major change done by this committee and after government was the Ministry of HRD, Ministry of Human and Resource Development, was named as Ministry of Education. If I would have been asked, no one would do that, but I would have suggested that it would have been Ministry of Education and Cultural Development. So we can see properly in Sanskrit the terms are Shiksha or Sanskar Mantralaya. It would have been if in this way the students would be nurtured in a quite proper manner. Because in today's era we mark that only education won't be helpful for the student to survive. Along with all these Shaikshanik activities, there should be sanskar in the society. Until and unless it happens, we can't expect a good citizen for India or for even for at the global globe at a large. Finally, with the help of education, the students or the citizens have developed themselves. They have done money to good extent, but we are observing that there is a huge extortion of nature, we can say, with the resources and even for human relationship also. So if we have to maintain all these things, our great literature, great our history will guide them in terms to develop their personality in a different and all-round manner. So when we come to national education policy in this perspective, we can observe key changes over here. The dignitaries would have been mentioned. So in terms of going into the key changes over here, we can see that first thing as a key changes which was introduced is institutional consolidation and restructuring. It would have been discussed that after a certain period of times, there will be multi-faculty clusters which would be working as a degree offering institutions, or they will be working along with mother institutions, and they will have to perform on their own, and according to it they will have to restructure themselves. Few new courses will have are supposed to be introduced, or they will have to do hand holding with other institution native to them, and togetherly they need to proceed in this journey of education. Again, over here, restructuring of degree programs is also one of the important aspect, as we, being the educationists, we are observing that teachers, only teachers can play a key role in this particular area. If we want to restructure the total degree program, we will have to take happening in the world, what are the needs of the industry, we can say, and for all other, as we said, for sustainable development, what things should be included in the syllabus, and in that perspective, the programs are supposed to be designed again in a proper manner. Over here, third important thing which is described in this policy is that autonomy to faculty and institutional autonomy is the most important factor that says that the teacher will be free, or to most extent the institution will introduce whatever needs they locally prefer to introduce as a part of education, and the students would go along with the able to know what problems they are facing to their native places along with the global phenomena. So over here, this autonomy to faculty is the very, I would say, very important aspect in terms of teacher, which would help them to introduce their ideas in education. Fourth part in the key change is emphasis on research. Nowadays, we observe that the energy of teachers and even the academicians is supposed to be discharged in terms of education and getting the curriculum or the syllabus completed. So they get very least time on to focus upon the research. But hereafter, with the help of this national education policy, research will be the key area for in terms of implementation of national education policy. In terms of higher education institutions, the regulations are not very much constrained, but still, to some extent, they will be, we can say that it is light, but still tight. So autonomy will be given, but again, that autonomy will be monitored in terms of results. And finally, the results will decide the sustainability of that particular institution even. As I said priorly, that along with the hand holding of native institutions, the same institutions, those who are working with the same thought process, they can come together, they can give substitute, and finally such solutions can be provided for the students and the society at a large. So we can see as a teachers, or to begin with, this way the national education policy has given liberty to the education sector to begin with. Now, as a interpretation of functionality, various stakeholders are there. So in terms of students, we'll have to see that how it would function. And in terms of students, what liberty. Over here, it has said that no language barriers are there. So we will be marking that study in the regional language will be allowed. And not only in for higher education, in the for primary education also, they have made various changes. Plus 2 pattern was going on, but now 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 pattern, it has been introduced. I think which would be the most helpful aspect for that child to learn in a proper manner. Same things will be carried out till higher education. It won't be surprising if we find one engineer who has completed his and not English as his first language. So this is the most important thing which has been introduced in this national education policy. Second thing, which has been introduced that after 10, there is this system. So now we observe that after passing 10 standard, the child has to decide which side he has to be choose. Either he has to take science, commerce, and arts, and we can observe that all these are very much watertight compartments. If once art has been chosen, the child is not allowed to navigate in science stream or commerce stream, and vice versa. So over here, this new phenomenon is introduced, and it is expected that all the vision and all the exposure will be given to child in terms of faculties. And this multidisciplinary system will be introduced from 8th standard, which will last long till his end of his education. Actually, though the education doesn't end, the child will be able to navigate in the various fields of the education aspects which are open for him. Then reformed board exams is the most important factor in this national education policy. Learning and creative thinking will be emphasized. So, as it has been said that the 10th and 12th board was the important part when, or the end point of the formal education of the student, and thereafter he used to enter higher education sector. Over here, the threat of board exams have been diminished, and it has been introduced that in second standard, fifth standard, eighth standard, and 12th standard, four exams will be conducted, and with the help of that, evaluation of the child would be done, and then he or she will be able to decide which field he or she has to choose. Over here, and lots of times this point has been discussed, so I won't enter too much in this, that multiple entries and multiple exits, because we observe that whenever the education is left behind, the child has to face n number of problems. He doesn't carry any degree while he enters market. And finally, his prior qualification, whatever is over there, he has to carry that as his final one. So acceptance in terms of industry or in terms of job, I would say, it is very difficult for that child to establish himself. So whenever that first year, second year, third year, or the degree with research he will take, actually the four certificate provisions have been done. Well, first is certificate one, second is diploma, third is degree, and fourth is degree with research. So along with each and every exit of the child, he will be labeled with some other degree. So vocational education, I think this is the Atma of this national education policy, which would be further introduced as skill education. So this vocational education is very important aspect in national education policy. From school education itself, after fifth standard, one has to hold the hand of vocational studies. He has to choose one or other skill-oriented program, and along with the formal education, the development of skill will take place for the child's educational journey. Again, when all these things take place, higher education institutions, they have to face n number of regulatory bodies. If multiple faculties are there, each and every faculty is possessed by its own council, and they are governing the college by different manners. But over here, all colleges except medical and legal colleges will be under Higher Education Commission of India. So we can see over here that one single regulatory body will operate all these education systems. So finally, whenever student enters this educational scenario, we can say, finally he will be in a comfortable situation. There will be no moral burden or threat in his mind while seeking the education. And I think that will help the child to complete his education in very friendly and happy atmosphere. So whenever that student is studying, as all of us have exercised last year, this academic bank of credit is the important aspect introduced by this government or national education policy. We always observe that some of the skills acquired by the students are not counted in formal education, or they doesn't reflect in his marks gained by him. Over here, whatever credit courses he attends or whatever he possesses, those will be deposited in academic bank of credit. From various colleges, student can attend the credit courses, and the courses credit can be deposited in his account. Whenever in his life, if he want to encash or represent his skills, or this bank, this certification would help him to prove himself and his qualities. We can see that one credit is the 1 hour of teaching, lecture or tutorial, and 2 hours of practice. Again, few things are there. I think I'm audible. So again, the child will be able to perform in various aspects. He will be able to gather credits from different colleges and different skills. And finally, he will be in a situation to survive in his challenges in the industry or in competitive world. Again, there are few expectations of national education policy that till 2025 generation of students equipped with vocational education are supposed to be produced by these educational institutions. To some extent, I am worried that whether this will be achievable goal or not, because after 2020, there was a 2 years of pandemic. Then there were some changes in the state government. There were the different opinions in adoption of this policy. Finally, first 2.5 years, the policy was not adopted. Now it has been adopted. But we can mark that the various efforts are taken at state level, and in very short time, all the necessities will be matched and the expectations will be forced on higher education institutions to get the targeted achieved. So, in upcoming 2-3 years, a generation of vocational education we are supposed to produce. Again, one more option is given to student, that learning opportunities through online platforms. I think that in the big draft which was submitted by K. Kasturiranganji's committee to government, in that this portion was not included. But later on, maybe due to pandemic scenario, the government of India has introduced this program in the national education policy. And all such opportunities will be provided to the student in terms of getting more and more education. Now, third thing is that 40% of education is supposed to be taken online. So the student has given liberty to take education online along with the formal education. He can opt for various platforms from which he can get that education, like Swayam Diksha apps are available. N number of platforms are being developed by even state and central government, and those will be make available for the students, I think, in cheaper or cheapest rate of in terms of money. And again, it is the only approach of the government, that the child should be in a position to get opportunities if he or she wants to learn. Again, the important aspect over here is that the curriculum with local context is preferred to be taught. Now, we can mark that due to this Google Guru and the students continuously being along with him, we see that the students know n number of things which are happening globally. They might be knowing about the Israel and Hamas war going on, but they are not knowing what are the changes taking place in their native places. But in that perspective, curriculum with local context is the most important thing. They should be knowing how the things are changing in terms of education, in terms of competition, and in terms of market, they along with them. So we have best mean of struggle was for our survival, but their struggle would be for their existence, because now hereafter the competitive world won't survive them if the students are not equipped with various skills, soft skills, and again subject knowledge of that particular subject. For this particular purpose, I would say that there is one Sanskrit Subhashit that the students will be very eye-opening for them. This Subhashit says that Nabhisheko na samskara sihas swayameva mrugendrada. So it has been said that the lion is said to be the king of the jungle. But to say him a king, no coronation ceremony is arranged in jungle, but by his own performance, by his presence, he possesses and owns that post, which is called as Indra of Mruga, that is Mrugendra. In the same way, if one child has to survive, he will have to make his own space with the help of the situations he has acquired. So we can just for being that ideal student, I would like to place one story of a great son of Bharat Mata over here, whose life is always inspirational for various different perspective. I would like to tell his story over here as a strength of a student. So, in students' perspective, I request all the dignitaries present over here to go through this story. So we know Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu as a Nobel Prize winner for which was a great event for our country. And so we say that Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu was a great scientist of India who has performed very well on a global manner. In his life, one incident came that in year 1911, in Royal British Society of London, there was one gathering of scientists, and Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu was supposed to produce one scientific some activity over there, and the subject of his experiment was effect of cyanide upon the phosphorus. So effect of cyanide upon the ferrous, it meant that it was his submission. Priorly, he being a student of physics, he got this Nobel Prize in the subject biology. So we can see that the student of physics even can get Nobel Prize in biology. Now he wanted to enter the area of metallurgy. He said that the even if the cyanide is dropped upon it. Now let us listen how it worked. So to prove his saying what he said that the ferrous can be affected by this cyanide, he put one rod in that assembly. One machine prepared by himself, we can see which is the jugaad over there, was connected to that ferrous rod. On the bar, it would shake, then the machine would mark it, and that NEP will just draw the graph on the paper. In the assembly, one bottle was given to Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu, which was told that there is cyanide in that bottle. Jagdish Chandra Basu opened the bottle and dropped few drops on that ferrous. But unfortunately, it didn't. After few moments, with large laugh in the assembly, and they started humiliating Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu for his failure. Without thinking for a moment, Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu emptied that bottle in his own mouth. It was a very stunning moment for all the scientists. They were gathered over there from all the corners of the world. As Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu emptied that bottle, which was supposed to be cyanide, all were stuck because the outcome we all know. No one even knows the taste of cyanide of tongue. The investigated that someone did mischief. The cyanide was replaced with water. Cyanide was handed over to Dr. Jagdish Chandra Basu. He dropped that few drops on the ferrous, that is iron. That iron shook. The result was marked by that machine, and finally the graph was drawn. So we can see that if the student has confidence of his knowledge, and if he is performing on the basis of his own knowledge acquired, he is damn confident to perform at any level of his life. I hope that higher education institutions and schooling sector at a large will be taking effort to produce such type of, we can say, outstanding students for the society. But for all this purpose, in terms of government, we have to just see what arrangements have been done for the government to get all these things done. As I said, Higher Education Commission of India will be governing all this educational sector, but to support it, for more systems have been developed. First is National Higher Education Regulatory Council. Second one is General Education Council. Third one is National Academic Council and Higher Education Grants Council. So with the help of these four institutions, finally Higher Education Commission of India would be institutions, and finally all will be taking efforts to develop the best citizen for this. Now we being the So after the formation of such type of mother institutions, there would be some changes in terms of university workings also. So classification of traditional universities and colleges will be divided into preferably three major sectors. First thing is research universities, second thing is teaching universities, and third one is degree granting institutions. Over here, as I said, that in public universities, there the research component will be the highest and the preferred object, which would be worked over there. And teaching universities will be taking care of all the activities related to teaching things going on over there. And degree granting institutions, they would be independent in terms of giving the to cater the need district-wise, National Education Policy is supposed to establish multidisciplinary higher education and research institutes, which is called as MERU, and on the lines of IITs and IIMs, and it is supposed that it will take place till 2030. So what is this? Whatever has been decided in terms of national education policy, the government thinks that as a symbolic, there will be an institution like Meru in each and every district, and it will cater the educational needs of the district at a large. So we can mark that there are about 748 districts in our country, considering the number of universities in the world, in India. We can say that yet huge infrastructure investment is supposed to be done, and government will have to make a rush to get all these things done. Second challenge is that the investment up to 6% of GDP is supposed to be done in the field of education, which was suggested by Kothari Commission. Again, this is the one goal which has not been achieved since last 40-50 years, and it reflects that why education system is suffering to some extent. But I think along with all these reforms, the huge investment would be done in the field of education, and that will mark good results in educational era. So again, if we see that what was the last year's investment is something 2.9%. Again, it is more than, it was a record investment 2.9%, but still, unfortunately, we have to say that even we have not crossed 50% of our goal. Over here, we need to say that along with all these challenges, what would be the situation in front of teachers, and what are the challenges they would need to face, how they are supposed to implement this national education policy, and what arrangements will be done for their betterment. We can see over here that teacher-student ratio must be followed. It is the key factor in this total policy. Clearly, national education policy mentions that the teacher will be the important factor in this total educational sector, and he will be the leading element in terms of education. So the ratio should be proportionate, with the help of which teacher will be able to give proper. Second thing is that nowadays we observe that the dropout proportion is too high. 27.1% students are left while they are enrolled 100% in pre-primary level. Education in higher from college system, there are only 27.1% students passing through colleges. Again, there is one question in my mind, that out of what is the percentage of students those who are present in classes? So if we calculate that percentage, it will be very miserable, and I think it will have to take more and more effort. We have to reach that ratio till 50% in terms of GR, and till 2035. Again, gross enrollment ratio is dependent.
सर आपका ऑडियो नहीं, ऑडिबल नहीं है, आप ऑडियो प्रॉपर नहीं है।
Experience what she wants to do.
ऑडियो ऑन एंड ऑफ हो रहा था, इसलिए थोड़ा ब्रेक किया था।
And togetherly they will be responsible for the skills acquired over there. But again, to major extent, teacher will be answerable for the knowledge delivered to the student, and accordingly that certificate should hold that confidence among the students. To nurture good teachers and better teachers in the society, again we have, with due respect to all the teachers working till today, 4-year dedicated program for B.Ed has been introduced by the National Education Policy. It says that teachers should not enter this field accidentally. There should be dedicated effort to build a good teacher in the society. After 12, this 4-year B.Ed program has been introduced, and after graduation, 1-year, 2-year programs have been introduced in this National Education Policy. It will help the students and even teachers, student teachers, I would say, to learn Indian knowledge system along with advanced education systems in a better manner, and that will benefit the students to Again, teachers and students need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This regularly as per the subject to the knowledge. But again, if if we are stuck up with our knowledge and if we say that I am the best, you will not be able to survive. That's why whatever you have learned, according to the changes in society, according to changes in education system, you have to unlearn first of all whatever you have learned, and then again you need to learn the different or advanced knowledge in advanced perspective, which will help both of them to develop together with themselves and to proceed in the world of this education. Again, till today, the legacy of teachers is great in our country. We know the different teachers, those who have led example in front of our society, that only teachers can transform the society at a large. They can set sustainable goals and they can guide the society. And it is a fundamental principle or fundamental prayer, I would say, for the teachers, what they say in terms of societal growth. And it is that teachers are supposed to say that Jivane yavadadanam syat pradhanam tatodikam ittesham prarthanasmakam bhagwan paripuryata. That I have been blessed by the eternal power of this nature. I have gained whatever knowledge I have gained, I am supposed to give more to the society and to students. And oh God, just fulfill my this wish. So along with this prayer, if the teacher is proceeding, I'm 100% confident that good generation of teachers and also good generation of students will be marked in this developing country, which we say that will be superpower in upcoming days. But I would say that it is not that easy. There are some critical areas we need to address. We'll have the short review of that. Again, action plan of national education policy is in progress. So we need to go through that even, how it is expecting for us to perform. Again, this can only be successful if all stakeholders. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir. Perfectly audible.
You are
Fine,
audible.
fine, fine. I heard someone.
Hi, yeah,
Sir.
it was unmuted.
Huh. So to what is the need of the time is that to action plan of national education policy is in progress. This can only be successful if all stakeholders took their own responsibility. Among them are central government, state government, take the ownership and they need to proceed. So again, getting autonomy at college level will make it easier. And finally, together effort by all the stakeholders will result the better phenomenon in this educational field. Again, the most important factor just now we have seen that in terms of government, in terms of teachers, in terms of students, and in terms of are supposed to be done. Now, in terms of management, we have to just overlook that what arrangements are supposed to be done by they will have to make various arrangements in their college to get various courses. Otherwise, we need to hold the hand of the even thinking institutions working along with us. Hereafter, I think in the field of education, there won't be any competitor. Togetherly, we will have to proceed. Otherwise, the survival is difficult and the change even in mindset will matter a lot. Again, single departmental institute, less than 3,000 students will be under threat because either they will have to start the different faculties or they will have to merge themselves in this in the cluster. In terms of cluster, we'll be able to working in different things. Either there will be subject clusters or clusters of institutions togetherly, which will be catering the need of education of the society. This national education policy gives autonomy in terms of academic, in functional autonomy, or financial autonomy is not discussed in this national education policy, and it has been said or it has been expected that the money generation is supposed to be done along with the demanded courses, and students will be supporting all this system by their contribution. The degree awarding college, then the degree will be competed at the global level. For example, a degree of local college is going to be renowned universities will be in competition with all other uh, all other degree preferring colleges. So it is a very important factor in front of sanstha chalak or management that they need to make different arrangement, as we have learned that there is going to be global online education for the students. The infrastructural investment is needed if the students are going to learn online. Again, the setup of better computer systems are to be done by the school management, and that is the huge financial investments, and which is the very challenging part in terms of management. They need to plan accordingly for the better arrangement and better educational arrangement for the students. Institutional development plan is supposed to be planned along with all stakeholders of the college, taking students into confidence, taking teachers into confidence, and also other stakeholders of the society. The development plan is supposed to be done, and togetherly it is supposed to be just. We can see that always it has been said that only investing in some other things, some other commodities won't work. But there are different situations in society. I would like to share my experience. One of that, I am also working as a council member of Deccan Education Society Pune. It possesses Ferguson and BMCC colleges, just like very flagship colleges in Pune. But still, we even run some schools in Pune. First school of Deccan Education Society is New English School, of 5th to 10th standard. One of our teacher, Mr. Nagesh Mone, who lives in Vai and Pune, it is near about 100-kilometer distance between two places. You go every day. And over there, he marked that few students are coming early to the school. He asked the students why they are over there why they are coming early. Is there any transportation problem or what? Days the students say that, sir, we are facing some physical problem because in our homes we are not having toilets, so we are coming early over here to take that service over here. So again, if this is the situation in a city like Pune, we'll have to think what would be the scenario in interior cities, because finally in this global phenomenon, if we want to cater the needs at the local level, finally we have to say that all these things are supposed to be done by the management itself with the help of society. And again, if it doesn't happen, the serious situation. So if we want to say that we have to get this national education policy worked in a very proper manner, we'll have to find some proper ways. Togetherly, we'll have to proceed. Again, students, teachers, society, parents, management, togetherly we have to think in terms of implementation. And as our Sanskriti says, there is one prarthana in terms of all this education. It says that अनुभुनक्तु सहवीर्यम करवावहे तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु माविद विशावहे. What does it mean? It is prarthana which says that togetherly teacher and student have to survive togetherly. They have to take togetherly. They request the supreme power to allot them energy for their learning and teaching process. They say that the teaching learning process, let it be very divine and to the actual result. Again, there should not be any type of jealousy among both of them. And finally, the ecosystem would support them in terms of education. As I said that there are different angles of this national education policy in terms of execution. It is just like an elephant. Each and everyone would mark that this document in their own perspective. But in terms of interpretative functionality, I think that each and every stakeholder in its own light of national education policy will have to complete this journey and I wish all of you my heartily best wishes for this new academic endeavor, for all educational success. And I hope that all these, with the help of this national education policy, togetherly will be able to frame the good citizens and good, what we can say, Bharatiya Sanskruti holding students for this society. Again, I thank Honorable Mudgal sir and the management for giving me an opportunity over here. If with few questions, if will be proceed.
Any questions from faculties?
For your lectures, you uttered two words, Sanskar and Sanskar. Perhaps it is in the context of Indian knowledge system. My question is, can this uniform Sanskriti or Sanskar be inculcated to people of India who is characterized by a diverse culture? That is my question. Shall I repeat, sir? You are not audible, sir.
Sir, you are mute. I think he's unmute him. Paras sir.
Kulkarni sir, you are mute.
I think I'm audible now.
Yes.
Okay, I'll repeat
Yes,
the
sir.
question.
Please,
Shall I repeat the question, sir?
please, sir.
Sir, you mentioned two terms in your lecture, Sanskar, Shiksha, and perhaps Sanskriti. And I think you mentioned it in the context of Indian knowledge system.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So how can this uniform Sanskar or Sanskriti be inculcated to people of India who is characterized by diverse cultures? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So as we said that we have to think globally with the local references. There are n number of saints and teachings in our Sanskrit as we discussed just now. The various documents are available which are related to our ancient teachers, those who have written the documents, which are the along with the research are with sustainable factors in itself. And again, whatever thing, for example, if we go through the Hanuman Chalisa, Yojana Sahasra Bhanu, so it says that whatever is the distance between, we have to just unfold the meanings. And again, n number of things we are getting on internet and the information has been provided. We have to unfold our educational documents, whatever we are having from the ancient and whatever culture we are having. Because we see along with the development, the total world is getting commercial at a large. So in terms of students to get human citizens, we would say we will have to focus on all these things. As I said, the teachings from various our holy books also, even for reasons. So we have to give examples from Ramayana or Mahabharata, just like in the relations are not good, we have observed Mahabharata and relations are good, even Ramayana takes place. So as I in terms of science, yet lots of experiments are supposed to be done. Lots of books are there which we have to go through it. And I think that this will help the students to develop their perspective in terms of education.
Any other questions? Honorable Sir, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of entire college. I am deeply grateful to you, sir, for your valuable lecture. I am thankful to our principal, Dr. Mudgal sir, for his presence. I thank everyone who present here for making this FDP a memorable one. Thank you for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
अमित जी
Thank you,
धन्यवाद.
Mudgal sir. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद अमित जी. थँक्यू सो मच. पुन्हा
Thank you, sir.
भेटूया.
Yes, yes.
नमस्कार सर.
Namaskar.
नमस्कार.